Hello, today I will tell you what is object, how to create it and how to use it. Objects are just containers for storing variables and functions, which are called methods, thematically related to each other for easier reusing. Is it possible to define it a bit simpler way? Yeah. Everything around me is an object. Yeah. I'm looking at the monitor. I am looking at the cursor that is moving here. Everything that you can see can be called an object. And you can use objects, you can define them by, the variables, and you can say what actions are gonna be done on these objects by creating functions. And variables that are describing the objects are called, this time, something like properties, okay? And well, let's create an example. We could, create something, but first I think we could just use the examples that are already created. When you go to the Mozilla Developer Network, there is a guide, there is also a tutorial for JavaScript, free one. But when you are here, you can find something like references, built-in objects. As you can see, there are many built-in objects that you can use. There are many properties, so variables that are describing these objects, and functions that can help you working with them. That's really, really cool. For example, you have got also something like document object model. We'll talk about this thing more later. And inside document object model, there is the most important one, which is called document. Document is describing the document of the HTML file. Let's use it. Let's use the document object. Well, in order to use the object, I just type the name of the object, and then I click the dot. And then, as you can see, I can access all possible values there. And in this editor, the blue one are the variables, the properties, right? And the red one are the methods that I can use. And now I would like to get element by ID that I send here. And I can send here, for example, let's call this guy test. So I have got now, because of this method that was created by somebody, I do not care how it was created, how it works. I just want to know that it works like that. It just gets this element by this ID. And now I type here, for example, var div, well, whatever, I just want to assign the returned value to this thing, and let's alert it. As you can see, inside it we have got object, which is called HTML div element. So I just got another object that I can use. It is called HTML div element. As you can see, it is inside the document object model, right? And when we go here, we can read about it a bit more. You can read what properties are inside and other things like that. But, well, all objects there have something, well, inside the HTML has something like a property, which is called inner HTML. We can do something like div inner HTML, and now we can assign here different thing that will be inside the div that we get using this function here. So we can type here, so for example, this is new text. Now when we refresh, as you can see, we change the value inside. That's really cool because right now we can totally change the value of anything on our website dynamically. We can check, for example, here if somebody did everything properly in the form. If yes, then we'll say, hey, everything is okay. Or we can even insert here an image, right? We can do whatever we want just by knowing this little thing that is so powerful. We can do whatever we want right now, right? You can check if, for example, this guy has got the size of document like that. We want to, decrease everything inside our document. We can do things like that because right now we have got objects that are created by other people. We will of course learn some of them in next lessons, the most important things about them. But as you can see, it's just so powerful, right? And you can also create your own objects. That's also useful. For example, let's create an object that we'll call the person. And how to do it? You just as you have noticed, we just created it as normal variable, right? But right now, in order to create an object, we should create here something like curly braces, like that. And it means that we have just created an object which is called person. And now inside it, we can create the variables, the properties that will describe this object. What can describe a person? Person has a name, and then we'll just type a name, and the name can have a value. So for example, Arek. So in order to do it, we just type the keyword, then the colon, and then the value of the property. And now we can create more of them. We can use the comma in order to separate. So for example, surname, and now I will type Włodarczyk. And as you can see, we have got now two values. But writing it like that in one line, it's a very bad idea. You should do it that way because right now it's more readable. As you can see, it instantly is easier to read. And now we can access all these things. So for example, I can do alert person name like that. As you can see now it's Arek. So we did the same thing like here. We access the inner HTML of the div element that we got here by this method. And well, we can of course change it dynamically here, for example, like blah, blah, blah. As you can see, it's been changed, right? We can change it like we did it here anytime. You can of course dynamically add something new, age 15, for example, like that, and you can do, you can add any elements at any time. The cool thing is also that you can use it like that now, right? We don't need to use alert anymore, so it will be easier for us to debug things later. So div inner HTML, and now we can type person, for example, name, right? And it works. What will happen when we, for example, do something like that? As you can see, it says object, because there is a default method that is run when you want to interpret the object as the string. That method is called toString. Okay, and you can override it by just typing toString, and now we can create an anonymous function that is gonna override it, the default behavior. Now we can return the thing that we want to just see. So when we do something like that, as you can see, now we'll see DASD. We can type here whatever we want. This will be just the thing that will be shown when somebody want to interpret the, person, this variable as a string. So when we do something like that, so we can return here, for example, this, that, and for example, name. As you can see now, it will by default show here a name, but we can also do something like that. This surname. Bam, Arek Włodarczyk. It works. Now it's just a default value. And well, you can create here many methods. This is called a method, your own one, right? You can do some counting, how long till this guy will be adult, right? He will be 18. If the age is lower then we'll say that he's not 18 or something like that. We can do our own methods. So is adult, for example, like that, function. And now, of course, we need to hear a comma, and we can check if, well, let's create an age, for example, like that. And if age is below 18, then return false, otherwise return true, right? Yes, and here semicolon. And right now we can use this method, person is adult. As you can see, this is a new text. Because let's do it that way. Well, the person is adult is returning the false as a boolean, and this is just not showing up. If we did it that way, of course it would show up, because now it's just a string, right? Person is adult. Oh, I know it's not why not it's not working. We didn't do it that way. So it's good idea that I made this mistake, because right now I will show you something which is very important, because you could make this mistake also, and it's pretty common mistake. You know, what is the age here right now? It's not this age. This age here could be the age defined here. So for example, like that, right? We need to exactly say to JavaScript that we want to go to this age. And we just type the this.age. This is always pointing to the variable that is the closest. So in this situation, inside this object. So it is interpreting right now here the age here. And because of it, as you can see, now we have got here true, because, well, the age is above. When we type, for example, 15, as you can see, now it's false. So it's working. We created our own function, and as you can see, these functions are related to each other. These variables are related to each other. So it's a good idea to, store things that are related to each other. You can create also objects by typing before something like new object, and then bam, like that. We can take this for a second. As you can see, it's working, but I do not recommend using this thing. I'm just showing you it so you know that something like that exists. I do not recommend it because it's slower and it's not so easy to read like this one. There is also another way for creating objects, but I will show you it in the next lesson, because, well, this is a method for creating many objects of one type. Okay, it's just more advanced topic. This is just the basics that you need to know. The second thing is very advanced thing. Not many people will use it. So if you understand it, you can now go ahead and read about many objects that you can use. For example, date one, where you can count timing things and other things like that. We will talk about most important one in next lesson. That's all in that lesson. Thank you very much.